Hello and welcome to I Am Geek episode 27, and we are still celebrating Hello Geek. Oh, The Witcher tonight. Anyways, I'm here again with my brother Chris.
Hi.
And my friend Katrin.
Heyo.
Heyo. You can't see it right now, but they're both in full costume just because they wanted to be. We'll leave you to guess what their costumes are.
This is just my normal attire for Thursdays.
Oh, you guys been having a good week?
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
I'm tired, but good.
Yeah, I'm tired too. Our newborn has been sleeping through the night pretty much, but our toddler has decided that 3 a.m. is a good time to wake up. So it's not fun. So last night we got him a newer bed for like
nice.
But we put like the crib mattress that was in the crib like on the floor. So if he fell out of bed, he would just land on it. Well, That's what I've been sleeping on the past couple nights, an old crib mattress, because I'd take him back in there and get him to sleep, and then I would fall asleep on the floor. And so it's great. So great.
Well, what you need to do is you just need to go to all the clocks and just set them to where like 10 a.m. is actually says like 3 a.m. So you'll trick him. So he'll sleep until 10 a.m.
Because he can read.
Yeah, because a 2-year-old can read a clock.
Exactly. It's a perfect plan. Do it.
One of us three does not have kids. I wonder who it is.
I bet they can't guess. It's my plan. It will work.
Oh, so we've got a fun weekend coming up. I am going to see Chris, my brother, in Dallas. We're going to go see Rhett and Link and the Good Mythical Tour. Yes, I will be there, and we'll probably do some other fun stuff while I'm up there. And we'll probably we'll do a report on it probably.
Okay.
We got to write a report on this.
Yeah.
Can it be double spaced?
Oh, this just in. Boop, 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 boop. The Dodgers just won 11-1, which means the Dodgers are going to the World Series. Whoop, 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 whoop. Yes, we care. I'm a big Dodgers fan. Our dad is like the biggest Dodgers fan. Our family has liked the Dodgers since they were in Brooklyn, so it's been a long time coming. I'm so happy that they are going to be in the World Series.
There you go.
Now, if we can get Houston to win, then they'll be here in my city.
There you go.
Which would be awesome.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But sorry, that's not. I mean, that's.
And that's been your sports minute for I Am Geek.
Hey, you gotta, our dad listens to this, and he'll appreciate.
Yeah.
The shout.
Yeah. There you go, Gary.
There you go. Dodgers going to the World Series.
Rats, Papa.
I'm surprised he hasn't texted or called. Tell me, did you watch the game? Because
he knows we're recording. He wouldn't bother you during
I'm sure
this.
That is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on. So we're continuing our Hallow Geek or celebration of sort of Halloween, if you want to call it for us geeks.
Mm-hmm.
And last week I mentioned we talked about movies, right? Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yes.
Which is funny. This week's episode of Ear Biscuits, another podcast by Rhett and Link, the guys we're going to see, they must be listening to our podcast. It's got to be. Of course. It's got to be what it is because their podcast this week was about horror movies. So I guess they were just listening to us.
Yeah.
That copycat.
That's what the other guys are talking about, so we might as well talk about it.
Yeah.
They'll probably see us out in the audience and they'll go, "Hey, I am Geek Guys!"
Hey, we listen to No, they don't listen to us.
And be like, "Hey guys, how you doing?"
Their podcast gets like thousands and thousands of listens. And so they don't
Well,
need to listen to us.
But
Yeah,
well, there's just
we're
two
not
of them then.
we're not about quantity. We're about quality.
Yes, all about quality
Yeah.
and randomness. Anyway, so we talked about movies last week, and this week we're going to talk about costumes in a little bit, but I wanted to share sort of my past a job that I had. It was a scare actor. If you don't know what a scare actor is an actor who scares. Ooh.
What?
I know.
No.
Oh, wait a minute.
This
That
is
doesn't make any
complicated. Can you
sense.
go over that again?
Yeah, so
I
a
didn't
scare
quite-
actor
Yeah.
is a actor who scares.
Oh.
Hey.
So before this, you asked us if we had any questions for you on this, and you just took my one question. So I'm out.
You don't have a follow up or
I was gonna ask, what is a scare actor?
It's
Is it an actor that's scared?
Yes.
And you took it, so I have no questions for you now.
Oh, well. But anyways, so I used to live in Tampa, and Busch Gardens is in Tampa. If you don't know what Busch Gardens is, it's a theme park.
Yep.
Used to be owned by the or I guess it's still sort of owned. I don't know. But
Clydesdale's there.
They have animals. They don't have those anymore, but they do have other animals, and they have roller coasters and all that stuff. But during October, they have a big haunted event where they have haunted mazes or haunted houses and scare zones and stuff. So they hire a bunch of extra people. So when I lived in Tampa, there was a few years where extra money would have been great. So I said, "Hey, that looks like fun." So I went and I auditioned. It was an audition process. So I thought I'd walk you guys through it and then tell you some of the funny stories that happened while I was scare acting. Which now Chris, my brother, he was in drama in high school and stuff.
He's very dramatic.
He's very dramatic.
I'm extremely dramatic. Oh my goodness.
I was not, so
It just came natural.
it just came
to you.
natural to
Well,
me.
Didn't need
Actually,
classes.
have a scary face. So
So the first year I did it, which I had to look back and see, I think it was 2004, so long ago, when I was a lot younger. And I think I even had hair back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
wow.
I know,
I had hair then
2004.
too.
So I heard an ad on the radio. Kids, if you don't know what that is, but
What's a radio?
Yeah.
Radio? What is a radio?
but I heard an ad looking for people to come work at this
Where's
event
that?
called Hallow Scream, and I've always, loved Halloween, so I thought this would be fun. So I went to it not knowing anything because I'd never been on auditions or stuff like that. I wasn't a drama person, so I didn't know. So I walk in and basically they put you in groups, and they have like they lined us up in a line, sitting in chairs, and they said, "Okay, we're going to give you some scenarios, and we want you to act it out." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, sure."
This reminded me of a Christopher Guest movie.
Yeah, it was sort of like that. So I'm like, "Oh gosh."
Right, Corky. Come on.
Yeah. So they're like, "Okay, we want you to act like a werewolf." So we had to act like a werewolf, and there was people doing weird things, and I was like, "What in the world?"
Grr.
Yeah.
Grr, I'm a werewolf. Howl.
Yeah.
Where's that moon?
Exactly. And then they said, "Okay, act like a zombie and do all this stuff." And then not the first year, but they sort of amped it up. Another year that I auditioned, because you had to audition every year. They had like this big wall with these what they call boo holes that you open up and you stick your head out and scream. So one year we had to do that, and somebody would walk past us, and we had to put our head out and scream. But the first year I did it, so I went through the whole audition thing, and I'm like, oh gosh, this wasn't a world I was expecting. I was sort of expecting, hey, you're a warm body. Here, put a mask on and scare people, Because in my college days, I would go do stuff like that for like local haunted houses. They would be like, "Hey, we need somebody to come scare tonight. You have a Halloween mask. Here, come, put this on and just scare people." So I did the audition process, and they asked you questions and stuff. And sort of looked at you. You know, you were just sort of standing there in front of people, and they would just sort of a group would look at you and like whisper to each other and then write something down. And then they say, okay, you go on. We'll let you know. So they called me and they called out my name and some other names. And I was like, oh gosh, is this good or is this bad? Is it sort of like, yeah, sorry, you know, you don't know what you're doing or what it's going to be. So they called a group of us back to talk to us individually. Because what I had heard is you would just get a call or something saying, okay, you got a job, just show up to this date. Well, they called a group of us back and said, hey, we wanted to talk to you about a special position. And I'm like, oh gosh.
Ooh.
I'm like, what is this? And I don't know why I was called back for a special position, but
Well, you're special.
yeah, I'm
Look
special.
at you. Look at you. You're so special.
And they asked us each individually a question. They said, hey, have you ever walked on stilts before?
Yikes.
As most people have.
Yeah, and I said, no, I have not. And they go, that's okay, we'll teach you. And I'm
Oh.
Well, why did you ask the question?
yeah. So they asked me to be a stilt walker. I'd never done anything like that before. I'm like, oh, okay, and sure, let's try it out. And I wear glasses too, so it's like, you know. But I was like, I needed the job. It's what was offered to me, so I said, let's do it. So we had like a lot of extra rehearsals. Like I guess for normal people, they do like 2 rehearsals. You come in and you just see where you're going to be and practice scaring people. But for us, we had to basically learn this new skill, and they weren't. The good thing is that they weren't like those tall, skinny stilts that look like crutches or something. You know, they were like, oh,
Yeah.
they were.
Sorry, I was throwing my voice.
They were
Practicing my ventriloquism.
they were drywall stilts. If you're familiar with those, so like when somebody comes into a house to hang drywall up high, they put on these stilts so they could walk around in. So it was basically like a flat foot, and it
Like a leg extension.
yeah, leg extensions attached to your like calves and stuff. But so you're like, well, I'm 6 feet, so I was probably, oh gosh, 10 feet up in the air, maybe? I don't know.
Well, they should have asked, are you afraid of heights?
Yeah, 8 feet, maybe 8 or 9 feet up in the air.
It's not so much if you've been
Yeah.
on still. Are you afraid of heights?
And so when you first put them on, it's weird. It's like this weird feeling because it's like you're trying to get up and walk, but you can't feel your legs because you have these extensions to your legs that you're not used to dealing with. So there was a lot of people falling, and you sort of have to take these bigger steps. But I mean, people were getting the hang of it, and people were like running in them, which was I never quite ran in them. I walked briskly, maybe you want to call it. But I'm like, I'm not.
Don't worry, I'll get there.
Yeah, I'm not gonna run in these things. So we practiced with the stilts for a while, a few weeks or something. That wasn't in costume or anything. That was just, it's Florida, so you're in shorts, t-shirt, and then stilts, walking around, and you wear big knee pads and stuff. So if you do fall, it'll be okay. And they pretty much tell you, yeah, you'll probably fall some. It's like, oh, great. So we get through stilts training, and then it's costume fitting, and they come back to us and they go, oh, we're trying something new this year. And this was sort of like it. I guess the first Halloween thing they did was in 1999, but it wasn't as big as it was by 2004. Like as far as it was just a lot of stuff going on by 2004. So they were still sort of in their new stages, so they didn't have many rules and stuff, and they were still trying to figure stuff out. So they got to the costuming part, and they're like, oh, we don't really have the costumes finished yet. And the event was like, I don't know, a few days later. And they're like, we're trying something new, and for the stilt walkers, they're going to have these pantyhose things that they put on their heads, and it's going to be airbrushed faces on the pantyhose. And I'm like, okay, so you're putting people up 8-9 feet in the air, and they have to see through pantyhose. And I'm like, are you serious? And then they get to my character, and they go, your character's name is Rank Frank, and it was sort of like a apocalyptic cityscape or something is what they were going for. It was like at the front gate area. And they're like, you're Rank Frank, and you won't be wearing one of these pantyhose masks. And I'm like, oh, that's great. You'll be wearing a gas mask. And I'm like, wait a second.
Oh, even better.
And so I'm thinking, okay, so they've got something that looks like a gas mask that will be able to be see-through and stuff. They're like, oh, no. These are like gas masks from like World War II that we found at something. So I'm like, are you serious? So they give it to me, and it barely fits on my head.
Dumpster diving.
Yeah, it barely fits on my head. But when you put it on, because we're in Florida and there's all that humidity, as soon as you start breathing, the glass eye holes immediately fog up. And I'm like, you want me to walk on stilts with a gas mask on that you can't see? And then they were like, oh, yeah, that's probably not going to work, is it? So for the first night of the event, nobody on stilts had masks. We were just our normal selves in a costume. My costume was like a suit a mechanic wears, like just like coveralls.
Coveralls.
Yeah, coveralls. That was my costume for like the first night. And they're like, yeah, the masks aren't done. And so that was just sort of annoying because like, how are we supposed to scare people? We're just dudes on stilts walking around. And there was different characters.
That's scary.
Yeah, one guy was like a butcher, so he had like a big apron thing on, and there was like other things. And then there was also these like rat people that would like run around at our feet, which was weird.
That's what rats do.
Yeah. So they gave us the gas mask, but they wouldn't fit over our heads, so they just sat on top of our heads. So you still saw our face with this gas mask on top of our heads like a hat. And they didn't have many rules. So I asked we had stage managers. Each little area had their own stage managers. So I said, hey, can we add to our costumes? And they're like, sure, why not? Which this would be unheard of. Like if Universal Studios or Busch Gardens, very quality control now, and they want to make sure everything looks a certain way. But sure. In 2004, they were like, yeah, you could make your own costume. So I got it's called a spray sock that painters use to put over their heads. And I sewed it up where only my eyes were visible. And then I wore my prescription sunglasses, even though it was at nighttime. And then I splattered it with green and glow-in-the-dark paint. So it looked like there was just toxic waste oozing off my face. And yeah. And then I wore the gas mask sort of on top of my head, sort of hanging back. Like I had pulled it off to reveal this toxic waste face. And people were like coming up to me like, this is the best costume I've seen the whole time. I'm like, nice. Yeah, I made it myself.
Awesome.
But the fun thing about the stilts were, because there weren't any rules, basically they just told us, go out there and scare people. So we're like, can we do whatever? And they're like, as long as you don't touch them. So we're like, okay. So these events are notorious for teenagers coming and just acting a fool. So teenagers would come to the gate, so they'd see us walking on stilts. They're like, yeah, you can't scare me and stuff. And we would just like hide out places like underneath awnings, and they would run under, and then they'd look up, and we would just be towering over them. And then we would chase them through stores. Like we would duck into the stores and like chase them through the stores. Because they're like, you can't come to the stores. And we're like, well, nobody told us we couldn't. So we would just run through the stores. And we like chase people into the bathrooms because nobody told us that we couldn't. So we're like, you're not going to hide in there. We're just going to come in and get you. So if you can imagine being in the bathroom, using the bathroom, and then this 9-foot tall person just walks in.
Nice.
Yeah, you don't want that in a stall. You don't want to be sitting in a stall and see someone kind of hovering over top. That's not good.
But the best with the stores, because the employees in the stores didn't know we were coming either, and so they're like freaking out as these weird tall creatures started running through. But stilts were dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
because
had a you had a bad experience with it too, didn't you? What
yeah,
I remember.
yeah. The thing is, this was at nighttime, which was dark out. Well, before that happened, before my accident happened, this was the hurricane season of 2004, where like 3 or 4 hurricanes came through.
Yes.
So one night there was like warnings or something, I don't know, but we were still open, and they sent us out in stilts in like tropical storm wind speeds. And so if you can imagine somebody on stilts trying to walk through those kind of winds, it was pretty funny. And then
So hilarious.
they finally said, okay, maybe this isn't safe, and they took us inside. And
Maybe.
like one of the houses that year called Corporate Nightmare it was sort of like I don't know, a dumb house, anyways. Just blew away in one of the hurricanes. Yeah,
Oops.
it was gone. But so after the hurricanes passed and stuff, we got back up on our stilts, and it was dark out. And then you would go from the dark into a bright, which I don't know why they did it like this, a bright break area. So it would be like 30, 40 minutes on, then 30, 40 minutes off, and then back and forth. Because the stilts get tiring. And so I was coming in through for one of my breaks and didn't squat down low enough. And in a
Whoops.
full walk, ran smack into the door frame. Um,
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing.
yeah,
No, I'm laughing. I'm laughing.
pretty much knocking myself out. The only reason I didn't fall all the way to the floor was because I fell into a wall and then fell into a vending machine, sort of bounced back and forth, and then sat down on the ground. And people were like, well, "Are you okay?" And I was not okay. So they had to. I had to go to the hospital and get some stuff done. So that was fun. And then I came back and they gave me the clear to come back, but they wouldn't let me be on stilts anymore since I pretty much had a concussion. So I was basically in my same costume, but they cut the legs off of it so the legs are shorter. Same character, and I would just walk around on the ground. But I sort of like that part better because then there was really no rules, and they just said, "Oh, I don't know, do whatever you want to." So I would hide in bushes and like jump out at people. Um, I sat on a park bench because there's a park bench. Some of the park benches had like dummies on them, like sort of leaning over. So I sat on one with my arms spread out, leaning my head down like I was just a mannequin. And people would come and sit down beside me to get their picture taken. And as soon as they would sit down, I would just like come to life, and it would freak them out. Yeah,
Thanks.
I had people in the fetal position on the ground, just crying and stuff. So that was fun. It's always fun. But yeah, there was a lot of dangers that still people. A lot of people got into accidents. One guy was this butcher guy, and he had covered himself because they said do whatever you want to your costumes. He had covered himself in fake blood. Well, he fell one night and busted his head open.
Oh,
And people thought that it was
no.
part of the show because he was already covered in blood. And they were circling around him like, look at this. It's so realistic. And it was just like,
It's real.
oh my goodness. Yeah. So that,
Oh.
we had to get around him and be like, no, get away. It's not part of not part of the show. That same guy got punched in the face by somebody when he tried to scare him when he was off his stilts because he got off his stilts because he busted his head open. And he chased the dude through the parking lot because security didn't do anything. This was the wild, wild west days of how it's great. And he was like a karate dude. Chased him into the parking lot and just like in full costume and pinned him to the ground until security came. So just imagine you're walking into this Halloween event and you see this crazy blood-drenched butcher chasing somebody through the parking lot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was a crazy time. There was like a lot of people are drunk at these things, and I had to stand between two ladies that were getting in a fight in my full costume. Say, ladies, back off! Don't fight each other, because
Nice.
security didn't really do
Your
anything.
typical Saturday night.
Yeah. So that was my first year. Any questions so far?
No, it's
No.
quite captivating.
Is it? Or are you
Yeah.
just saying that?
So you're no, I had questions, but you're just answering them all without me asking. So
Yeah.
so you had another year.
Well, I had the one question. I
Yeah.
had one question. What a Scareactor was.
I did it
Already
like
answered that.
1.5 more years. I came back and
Yeah.
did it. I can't remember if my second year was 2005 or 2006 because they repeat a lot of the houses. So I looked it up and I couldn't tell which it was. But I didn't do it that long because that year they put me in a house, and being in a house was not as fun as being in a scare zone. Because in a scare zone you just do whatever you want to until they tell you can't do it, and then you're like, oh, sorry, I didn't know. The house, they give you one job and you sit there and you do it over and over and over again all night. And it was not fun. They put me in this clown house that was in like the bird sanctuary thing there, so it just smelled like bird poop the whole time. And I was called the pimple popper, and I was this clown that had all these pimples. And I would like, I was supposed to shoot water at people, but the water thing never worked, so I would just pop up and be like, oh. And
Pimples.
yeah, and I was like trying to work on a master's at the time too, and I was like, this is not worth it. So I quit that midway through. And they're like, well, if you quit, you'll never be hired again. Well, I came back in 2008, and they hired me back.
Prove them wrong.
Yeah, 2008, I was like, oh, let's do it one more time. But that year was fun because I went in as a sub because I couldn't do every night. So basically, I would just sub in for people that couldn't be there. So I got to do like a bunch of different roles, which was cool. So I got to be in the house. I got to be in a house where I chase people around with the chainsaw. That was fun. I got to be in a house where I was hanging over top of people being electrocuted. So that was sort of fun.
Nice.
That house was weird though because I kept getting lost because I didn't know how to walk through the houses in the background. So I would get lost and just be like, where in the world am I in this house? I have to be like, how do I get out of here? And I was a zombie in a scare zone that year one night. But the last night was Halloween night of 2008. And the year, they have these icons that sort of rule over the event. That year it was these two ladies called the Raven Twins. And supposedly they were twins that were conjoined and then they were separated. So half of their faces were like messed up, and then half of them were like supposed to be like beautiful, and the other half was supposed to be like just grotesque.
That's so
stuff.
Raven.
Yeah, that's so Raven. So it's the Raven Twins, and they had this show at the front of the park when you came in. That was like sort of like this weird torture show where they would get people out of the audience and torture them, but it wasn't really people. It wasn't really people out of the audience. It was like actors.
That doesn't seem right.
It was actors. But they had these two bodyguards with them that would be on stage that would go out and get the victims. And trying to think the best way to describe the bodyguards, because this is a family show. You guys, you've seen Pulp Fiction, right?
Not all of it, actually.
You can say.
I watched about half.
You seen the guy in the black suit in Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me. So Halloween night, they come to me and they say, "Hey, we had somebody call out, and we want to know if you would fill this position for the night. But we wanted to make sure it was okay. You could turn it down if you want to." And I was like, "Oh no, that's fine. It's the last night. I'll do whatever." They're like, "Okay, you're going to be at the front of the park. You're going to be part of the show, and you're going to be shirtless. Is that okay?" I was like, "Oh, wait."
I'm always shirtless. I'm not wearing a shirt now.
Yeah. So I'm like, why did they choose me for this? But so I was like, I guess, yeah, I'll do it. So you wore this black mask so nobody could see your face, and then black leather pants, and
It was pants. It wasn't shorts. It was pants.
it was pants. It was black leather pants, and
Okay.
then like it wasn't. You're sort of shirtless, but you had these black leather things that would come across your chest.
Did you get to keep the costume?
Oh, I wish. No.
So you kind of look like Demolition or the Road Warriors or something like
Yes.
that, right?
Yeah. Sort of like Demolition. Yeah. But so I get to the like all of these nights of this year. Like I'd get to the break location and I would meet the stage manager. I'd meet people. So I met the other bodyguards or whatever. Like, hey man, yeah, come on in. Yeah, you'll have fun. It's fun. Hey, you want to pump some iron with us? We like to pump iron before we go out. But I'm like, sure, why not? So they handed me a barbell and I would pump it up, get my physique going. And the girls that played the twins were like really nice and sweet. They're like, oh hi, yeah, you're gonna be on stage with me. And then they get on stage and just like, we are going to eat your souls and stuff. And it's just like, whoa, okay. And these guys, most of them were like college guys. Like, yeah, get out there. And then there was me that was not a college guy, long past college. So I still don't know why they said, hey, that guy looks like he should be shirtless. But they did. But
I always thought that of you.
But it was fun. I mean, it was cool experiencing all the different scare acting positions. I did like the scare zones or the show better than the houses. The houses just got monotonous because basically you were doing the same thing over and over again. And I'm surprised people didn't go insane in there and just like actually start killing people. But that
might have happened.
That was Howl of Scream. There was that first year was probably my favorite because it was like the Wild Wild West. It was just like anything goes. Do whatever you want to. We want to see him scared as we want you to see him. Scare him as much as you can. So we would have him crying. We'd have people in the fetal position. We'd have people running away.
So basically, all the rules that they came up with after that was because of you.
Probably so.
And what you did.
They had us near the. We were divided into two sections: front of the park, and then sort of another entrance of the park. And the other entrance was by the gorilla enclosure or whatever. It was like a trail that led down to where the gorillas were. But it was closed off, so like we would sit there with our lanterns that they gave us, saying, "Come on down to Scary Town. It's right this way." And we would like let people go down this abandoned walkway to the gorillas, and they'd be like, "There's nothing down here." We would just sit there and laugh and stuff. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Would you want to do it again?
Yeah, I did again.
And do you have a favorite that you've seen at other places that you said, "Man, I wish I could do that role," or something like that? Or is there, what's your ideal one that you would want to do?
Well, definitely like not having rules and just doing what you want to is great. But I would like to. I always wanted to go work at Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios just because. It's like you're working in the movies because of the sets and everything. I always thought that would be cool.
Yeah.
I think I would, if I got to pick, would definitely want to be in a scare zone because you get to roam around and do more, not just be in one static position the whole time.
Yeah.
Did you ever? We went to the haunted forest all the time, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever work at that? For some reason, I was thinking you did something there.
Yeah, I did. Somebody knew that I had a Scream costume, and they were like, "Dude, can you come be in our haunted forest?" And I'm like, "Sure, why not?"
Nice.
And they like put me like it's totally different working in those like local haunts because it's like just like I don't know, it's good in there. Like they made me go in this room and like stand in this coffin and like jump out at people in a Scream outfit, and I'm pretty sure somebody was like in a Yoda outfit. I'm like, it was just like, you got a costume? Come on down, scare people.
Yeah, you're a green troll. Yeah, that's it.
So that was sort of my first experience.
Yeah. One of the best ones, I guess. Scare actors or whatever, they had like a guy dressed up as Michael Myers just standing in the woods and just kind of just standing there looking at you, not doing anything, and that was probably the creepiest.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I ever went to that, the haunted forest thing.
Oh, you missed out.
I wasn't really big on places like that until I think like the first like stuff like that I did was like Halloween Horror Nights.
I remember the first haunted house I went to was JC's haunted house in Johnson City. It was like the JC's club or something like that, and they would always pick like these abandoned houses every year to do it in, and I didn't really do it until later on in life too, like when I started going to in college and stuff. But this was like when I was a teenager, and I remember like going and being like with a group of like people from church, I think, and I was just like scared to death because I was like, I've never been in one of these, and I for some reason I think Chris, you remember Melissa Smith?
Yes,
I'm pretty sure she was with us. I think.
Uh-oh.
Because she was like one of the leaders at the time for the youth, and all I remember is like going into some room with a big group of people, and then something jumping out and scaring her, and her falling backwards into me, pushing me, and I was just trapped in this wall and just like sitting there as a kid going, "I'm gonna die. This is where it happens. This is where it happens."
Oh, poor Melissa. I remember it was at King Springs Elementary. They did like a haunted hallway or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I remember being like scared to death of that. I wouldn't go down there. It was like they like turned off the lights completely, and I just remember people screaming down there, and I was like, I'm not going down there.
Well, that school was pretty creepy anyways. It was like an old school, and it was just like, yeah, sure, go down here. But yeah, so I don't know if I went back, I probably wouldn't walk on stilts because I don't think my knees and my back could take it.
Right.
But I would love to work at Halloween Horror Nights and do like even like one night if they just let me come work one night.
Yeah.
But just to do it again, it'd be fun.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's being a scare actor. Confessions of a Scare Actor with Ryan Street. So a lot of madness. I'm sure that most of that stuff wouldn't happen in today's world. They have tons of rules, and probably because of me or the people that I worked with.
Probably. Mm-hmm.
But so I got to dress up. That was one of the things I liked about those events. Is I got to dress up in different costumes and do different things, and so we're I guess this leads us into costumes and.
What?
Yeah, I put out on
that segue.
Yeah, I put out on Twitter and Facebook. What was your favorite costume that you've ever worn and why? And we got some. Some responses. Our number one fan, Bryn Wolf, responded. She said, my mom made great costumes for us. The lavender unicorn was good. The Minnie Mouse in kindergarten was super fun. 4-fingered gloves. Now I really want to see a picture of the lavender unicorn. Because that just seems interesting.
Yeah. I mean, specifically since it was a lavender unicorn. It wasn't just a unicorn, it was a lavender unicorn. I want to see that. It's not like purple or it's lavender. I want to see the lavender.
Nice.
That I posted on Facebook, and a lot of people like posted with some of their favorite costumes. One was a zombie cowboy sheriff, which I'm not sure how that came together, but it was something that he at a local haunted amusement park he worked at, and that was his character, zombie cowboy sheriff, and he kept the costume. He kept the costume when he left. So,
see, you could have kept that like leather costume. It'd been fine.
I did keep my mask that I made the first year. I probably still have it somewhere. But yeah, if you ever want to make a cheap Halloween mask, just get like a painter's sock and then just sew up the opening where just see your eyes and then just color all over it or draw all over it.
We did that for a Spider-Man outfit.
Yep.
Before. It was really nice.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. Somebody said they went as SEC referees with money pinned all over them, and gave out yellow flags to everybody. Oh, there we go. Somebody went as short round. I would like to see that.
Dr. Jones, Dr. Jones.
Dr. Jones. And then our good friend Tyler has gone as Indiana Jones, Doctor Who, a Jedi. He does it all. He's got a cool video on Facebook you can check out. But as far as us, what's some of your favorites growing up?
I had a lot of good ones. Like our mom is like the master seamstress and made all of our costumes like here, which is great. But probably my favorite costume was Darkwing Duck.
Nice.
Darkwing Duck, Disney Afternoon. Because that was like there were so many creative things that we did on that costume that me and her came up with. So the hat, like the big wide brimmed hat, we actually just went out and bought a witch's hat and pulled the top down from the inside, and she sewed it up so it'd make the Darkwing Duck hat. And then she made the mask with like cotton balls on the side for his like feathers, and the bill was made out of two hats. She took the brim of one hat, cut it off, turned it upside down, put it on the bottom of another brim to form the duck beak, and then sewed cloth around the part of it, so tie around my head so the duck beak would be right on my face. It was so cool. And she made these like sock coverings that fit over my shoes. It was the duck feet, and it was great. It was the best costume ever. And we won a Halloween costume contest with that, like a seamstress place or something, where she bought all her material.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice.
Do you still have that costume?
I still have it somewhere. But I mean, she made that. I was Robin from like Batman and Robin one year. You were Batman.
I was Batman.
She made the Robin outfit, which was great.
I had the Michael Keaton Batman mask.
Yeah,
Batman. Yeah. Yeah, your Spider-Man was good in there. Nightcrawler. That was probably one of my favorites.
Nightcrawler. Oh yeah, Nightcrawler was great because it was the Nightcrawler from the comics. Like she like did the tail. We used fishing line to kind of put the tail in a position. And my whole head was painted blue, and I had hair then, and that was all blue. And I had like got some vampire fangs for my teeth. That was when I worked at Reel to Reel theaters in Johnson City at a movie place. And they did a Halloween contest every year when like the employees would come dressed up, and I won the contest, and they didn't do it the next year because they knew I'd win again. They stopped doing it.
Aww.
They're like, we can't do it anymore because you're just gonna win it. I'm just like, come on, that's not right. I can't help it that I'm awesome.
It's true. Katrin, do you have any memorable costumes?
I had one that a mask that I had for a long time, and I used to wear it a lot. Just I don't know for whatever reason, but I remember I was young, and it was like this kind of older man mask. It was one of those rubber type masks that had a string that goes around, and it had a cigar in its mouth, and it had these huge eyebrows, bushy eyebrows, big old mustache. And I had a hat on and some overalls, and I remember we went over to my grandmother's house, and she didn't know that I had that costume or whatever. So I walked straight into her house and like sat down in the chair, and just to see what her reaction would be. But I think she figured it out pretty quick, so it wasn't that as funny as it was supposed to be. But that was like probably the most memorable as a kid. But most of mine have been as adult. The costumes I've had that were fun. I've been Mario before. We bought the costume with the big gloves and the hat and all that stuff. That was pretty cool. And then one year I made a house out of a cardboard box and made straps so that it would be over me. So I was a house, and then my wife was the Wicked Witch, so she had like the socks, so I would sit on her legs, so it looked like I was on top of the house, or her on top of her legs. And
Whoa.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, whatever. And then so at work we used to do this thing, and they stopped doing it recently for whatever reason, we would decorate our cubicle rows for different departments, and we always just went all out for ours. And the kids from group homes would come over, and it wasn't really a trick or treat thing. It wasn't trying to scare them. It was just something fun to do. And we always, again, did elaborate setups. The first year I was there, we did this Duck Dynasty thing, and we wore beards, and it was just crazy. We brought real trees in and put it on the cubicles and stuff. But the last year we did it, we made a pirate ship out of our cubicle row, and it was so cool. We had this huge mast that was really high up, and it had a crow's nest on top, and we did all these things. Had a cannon that made noises, and we all dressed as pirates. And I went out and bought a really nice pirate costume. But that was probably the most fun I think I've had in a costume. And we didn't win, which was really crazy because the kids vote on it. And I was like, they've got to love it. But I think we scared them a little too much because we were just like, "Arr!" the whole time, And I don't know how we didn't win. Everybody that walked by was like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are gonna win," But we didn't win, it was always frustrating when we didn't win because we put so much effort into making it cool, and it was probably the reason why we never did Star Wars as a row, because we're like, it's going to be too much work to make it look really cool, and it's not worth it because you get done and you have to tear it all down in 10 minutes, basically, and it's like, this is, we did all that work for 2 weeks or whatever. So this year, and last year and this year, they've changed it to this fall festival type thing where we do games, and it's boo. So those were, I still have that pirate costume. I'm thinking about wearing it to next year when we go to Disney. So we'll see.
Nice. You need to go on a Disney cruise because they have Pirate Night.
There you go.
And you wear your costume on Pirate Night out on deck.
Yeah.
The best pirate there.
The last time we went at Halloween at Disney, I wore a skeleton costume. Do you remember that, Ryan?
Yep.
It was one of those skin suits, which was, that was a lot of fun. And I had my Goofy hat on. So I was a Goofy skeleton. And I think for the which was kind of hot because that hat's not the most breathable, but I think for if I do wear the pirate costume, I'll wear the Goofy hat again, so I'll be a Goofy pirate again. So.
Yeah, that year I wore I dressed up as Dipper Pines from Gravity Falls because we went to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party.
Yeah,
I was Dipper Pines and my wife was Mabel,
puking in the.
But as we were leaving the hotel, she just leans over and just starts puking everywhere. And I'm like, oh no.
Puking rainbows? Like the gnomes?
Yeah. It's just like the cartoon. But no, she was like puking like green beans and stuff, I think. So we went without her. Yeah. So we went on and she stayed back. And so I'm walking around the park and people recognize me as Dipper Pines. Those like old man Dipper Pines, I guess, because
really tall.
Yeah, really tall. They're like, Dipper. They're like, where's Mabel? And I'm like, she's puking at the hotel. And they'd like laugh. And then she came, and she got there, and she looked like death warmed over, like Walking Dead Mabel, because she had like the sweater on, like one of the crazy sweaters she'd wear, but. I've had so many costumes.
Great.
I know. I have a Kylo Ren costume that I fashioned together that I wore for...
You wore that at Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah. It wasn't bad, right? It's a pretty good costume.
No, it's good. Yeah, it's good.
Let's see. Gosh, I had Batman. One of the first masks that I remember having. I did have a Star Wars, like the old... When I was a little kid... They don't make them anymore, but remember those like plastic suits you'd wear, Katrin?
Oh yeah,
with the plastic vacuum form masks.
Yeah,
I had like a Luke Skywalker one of those. But then I had this like rubber mask, like latex rubber mask that you would get like at Walmart or something. But it was like I don't know why my parents let me get this when I was a kid. It was like a head that was like split open in the middle, showing, and the skull. The skull was in the middle. Do you remember this, Chris? And
I remember that.
And the head was ripped open, and then there was a bullet hole in the middle of the skull.
Yeah.
And it had this like crazy like gray hair that was just like all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was supposed to be, but it was weird. It was. He had this crazy look on his face, and it was ripped open, revealing the skull with the bullet hole. And I wore that thing like all over the place to scare people. And we would like we'll talk maybe next week about our Halloween's decorations and stuff. That'd be a good thing. We'll talk about that because we would hide in piles of leaves and stuff and jump out at people with that crazy mask on. And I think, but I've got all kinds of costumes that I've been over the years. I think one of the funniest stories involving costumes, and then I'll quit talking. Well, one year we got invited to a Halloween party, which we never get invited to anything. We're just old. It's been like years ago when we lived in Tampa. We got invited to this Halloween party, and the people throwing it were like, "Oh, it's a themed party," and we're like, "Oh, okay. So what's the theme?" And they're like, "End of the world," and we're like, "Oh, okay." Well, this was when Lord of the Rings was popular, like really popular. Like the movies were out and stuff. And I was like, Jennifer, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to build a ring wraith costume, and I did. There's pictures of it on my Facebook. I'll try to post them. A full ring wraith. It was the one with the guy with the crown. Which one was that?
Yes,
the Witch King or something.
The Witch King. Yeah, it's the Witch King.
So I was the Witch King, complete with crown that I made out of like cardboard and aluminum foil, but it looked nice. It looked cool. You couldn't see my face.
Yeah, that's good.
My face was blacked out with a sheen like fabric thing. I had the full, and I made the costume out of like 2 old graduation robes and some scarves and all kinds of stuff. I'm very crafty like that, I guess. And I'm like, and Jennifer or my wife, I'm like, you're gonna be Frodo.
Yeah, she's about the right size.
Yeah, but it's gonna be, the take on it was the end of the world. So the Witch King has stolen the ring and has Frodo in chains leading him around. So she was in chains. She had the hairy feet. She had like all beat up. Looked like she'd been beat up. Looked like Frodo. Had her hair pulled back so it was like short. So we're like, oh, this is so cool. It's gonna be so much fun. Going to this themed party, and we get there, and people are like, oh, hey,
nobody's dressed
cool
up.
costumes. No, they're dressed up, but it's like, what we got in the closet? Oh, we got some scrubs. I'm a doctor. And then it was like, then people start arriving. It's like, I'm a scantily clad strawberry shortcake. I'm like, I thought this was the end of the world party. And people are just, and it's just like the typical Halloween girls dressed up as, grown-up versions.
Yeah. When I picture the end of the world, I picture a scantily clad strawberry
shortcake. Yeah.
I mean,
so Jennifer's like,
Jennifer's
like hit me and like, what have you done to me? I'm dressed up as a hobbit, a boy hobbit, and all the women and ladies here are like, oh, I'm strawberry shortcake. I'm a nurse, and she's like, I feel so out of place. So she's like, we have to leave now. So we didn't stay very long. And I even asked the dude that through the party, I was like, I thought this was end of the world themed. He's like, oh yeah, I guess it was supposed to be. Oh yeah, we just didn't do it. I'm just like, but I thought the costumes were great. It was a great, cool couples costume.
When I dressed up as Mario, we actually did a group costumes. It was, so my wife was Toad. She had the Toad like hat and little vest, and then a friend of mine was Luigi, and then his wife was Yoshi.
Oh, cool.
So it was a lot of fun. Yeah, we made a cake that was like Mario cake and all this, but it was fun. I think it was just us at their house. Basically, it was a theme, but it was just us with. I think there were a couple other people there. I forgot. They used to do these Halloween parties at their house, but yeah, it would have been weird, I guess, if it was just us. Hey, let's all just All four of us dressed up. But
We haven't
it
really
was
done a
awesome.
couple's costume. I don't know. We do costumes like we do it for Halloween now for like the kids that come to the house.
Yeah,
We get all like my wife does like awesome makeup stuff on her face and
yeah.
everything, and I've just got like a red suit. And he's just like last year or the year before, I painted my head all white, and I just had the red suit on, so I looked creepy. But
Well,
I was
yeah,
like
you
a doll.
you know who you look like. I always thought you looked like a version of Mac Tonight,
Oh yeah,
the full moon version of Mac
I was
Mac Tonight from the old McDonald's
playing it off
commercials.
Dead Man. I was playing it off Dead Man from the DC Comics. But yeah, I either I look back tonight. Normally, I look like a grown-up Bobby Hill. Apparently, if I wear a flash suit, I look like the Noid.
Bobby.
This is all personal stuff that's happening in my life right now. Uh,
Thank you, Dorian Soto, if you're listening. I don't know if you still listen, but
yeah,
thank you for those
Dorian
drawings.
Soto. Yeah, Dorian Soto drew some sketches of me, and
Draw
one of
me
he
like
drew
one
me
of
as
your
the Flash.
French girls.
Yeah, yeah. I'm laying there. I'm like, draw me, baby, and yeah. And
No.
yeah, it looked like the Noid from what was it?
Dominoes.
Right?
Dominoes.
Yeah.
Dominoes.
Playing
And
more
I got like a
video
little
games.
punch in my belly. I'm like, I gotta work out. Jeez, this is how people see.
Some
Uh,
people see me.
some of them look like my head's stung with a bee, like several bee stings. I just,
So are you going
I
as
hate myself
are you
now.
going as the Noid this Halloween, or what's your costume for this Halloween?
Uh, Apparently, I just look like annoyed what normally. Uh, so, so no.
What are you gonna?
We're gonna
What's your costume for this year?
we're I'll probably be wearing my red suit again, but we're trying to do makeup. You know, like those pop comics, comic strips where like the face is really kind of detailed, but there's like spots all over them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That kind of
Like,
stuff. We're
yeah.
we're doing some facial makeup like that this year.
Really cool.
Should be fun looking.
Cool.
But this weekend, I'm going to be dressed up as a decoy bride.
What?
This weekend, we're going to a Dallas Comic Convention, and we're going to meet David Tennant, Doctor Who. He was in Jessica Jones, and there's a movie that my wife likes called The Decoy Bride, and he's in that. And we're going to recreate the cover of the movie.
Nice.
DVD with them.
I've seen
Which
pictures.
means I have to be a woman.
I've seen pictures, and it is horrifying. It is the most horrifying thing I've ever seen.
He's gonna be memorable. I'm not gonna be wearing the wig though. Like in the picture you saw, there's a wig. I'm not wearing a wig.
Oh,
I think it'd
why
be funnier if I'm
not?
bald.
No, you need to wear the
I
wig.
think it's funnier if I'm bald.
Wear the wig.
But my character isn't blonde though. My character really is a redhead. Jenny got the wig for herself, but she was like, "Go put the wig on. I gotta take a picture."
You need to wear a wig. Go get your redhead wig. You know you're gonna scare this dude to death. There's gonna be like security swarming you.
I know. Oh, it's gonna be great.
I want to know why I wasn't invited to this. I'm calling you out because I want to see this in person.
I don't want anybody to see me.
I still have the photo. It's going up.
No, it doesn't need to do that. But no, it'll be fun. It's just something memorable. It'll be funny. I think he'll remember it. I think he'll get a kick out of it.
Oh, I'm sure he'll remember
because we actually
it.
made the sign. Like I can show you guys. Like you guys at home probably can't see this, but we made the decoy bride sign.
There you go.
Oh.
That,
I've never seen
if
this
you want to
movie.
see what it looks like, just look up the decoy bride because that's the cover right there.
There it is.
That's what we're doing.
What's
it's
the
just-
movie about?
So if you really want to know, the decoy bride, David Tennant is a writer, and he wrote about this one town in Scotland, but he'd never actually been there. But the woman that he's marrying is an actress, and she thought it'd be great to go to the place he wrote about to get married. And they're not that great of a relationship, and she's an actress, really popular actress. A lot of people are trying to find where she's getting married, so they come up with a decoy bride to set off the paparazzi, and he falls for her instead.
So all the stuff that you could chose that this guy's been in, this is what you picked.
I know, exactly.
Katrin, check your phone. All the stuff you could pick, you picked this. Not Doctor Who, not Jessica Jones.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Everyone does. Oh, great, he's sharing the picture.
I just sent the picture to Katrin.
Yeah, everyone does Doctor Who. Everyone's going to do Jessica Jones. Everyone's going to do all the big stuff and everything. But no one is going to do the Decoy Bride.
I think there's a reason for that.
Nobody knows what it is.
You could have done like Broadchurch or something, even, something different.
No, people know it. Do something original.
That almost looks like a character I came up with one year. We had a bunch of different pieces and parts of costumes and I put together. It was like a blonde wig, and I had a white apron, and I had some leftover blood from something, and I just put blood all over the apron, and I had this pipe, and it was just really in an eye patch. It was just really, really strange. And I didn't keep it on long because I was like, I'm going to scare kids coming up to the door. What is going on?
Something out of Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad.
I still haven't decided what I'm going to do Halloween. I don't know if I'm just going to do Kylo Ren. That's safe. I can just do that.
Oh, yeah.
The house is going to be crazy decorated, hopefully. I'm hoping to project on our garage door, too, so there'll be like just crazy different Halloween scenes. I want to do David S. Pumpkins. I want to just like playing on a loop on our garage door. It's sort of funny.
If you can find something on YouTube with it, then you can. There's like a web address you can go to that loops YouTube videos. You could do something like that.
Yeah, I could do that. It'd be pretty funny. Yeah. But I also have our other projector that shows like pumpkins and ghosts and goblins and stuff. So I'll have video of that up. Maybe we'll do some YouTube videos for that on our I Am Geek Show YouTube page, which we do have a couple of videos on there, and we'll have more. Hopefully a live stream, maybe like a Halloween live stream at some point, where we'll get dressed up and be on a live stream. Like I said, Chris and I are going to see Rhett and Link, and we'll do an impromptu review of that show and put it up if we have time. What else? There's a lot of stuff that went on this week, but we'll have to cover another time. Flash has had another episode that was pretty good. Han Solo movie finally got a title, which is Solo, which I like. I think that's a good title for a Han Solo movie. Just call it Solo. Because really, I think this movie is about how he becomes Solo, like Han Solo. So, makes sense to me.
Yeah.
There's a creepy new New Mutants trailer out that Chris really likes.
Oh, it looks so good. We'll have to talk about that maybe next time or something.
Yeah.
So good.
I watched Inhumans, which was okay. And Disney is now allowing dogs at like 3 or 4 other resorts. So all kinds of stuff that we didn't get to this week that we'll have to get to next time. But we've reached that hour mark. Another episode in the can, as they say.
No, not in the can.
Yeah.
That sounds bad.
No, in the can. in the can.
Yeah, no, that's bad.
No, that's good. That's used to film and everything would be in a can.
Yeah, but it sounds like in the can, like the trash can. Like
fine, another episode in the computer.
In the books.
In the books.
Yeah.
Another episode in the books. But I had fun on this episode. I don't know if you guys had fun. Yes. We'll see if the listeners did, if they listen.
They will.
But please share, like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on Twitter at I Am Geek.
Buy our shirts.
Buy our shirts at Spreadshirt.com. Wait, shop.spreadshirt.com/I Am Geek. Anyways. I'm tired. But you guys got anything else? You good?
Nah, I look good.
Well, thank you for joining us for another episode of I Am Geek. And we'll talk to you next time.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween! Oh, we're goofballs. Good night, everybody.